Good day. This is Real World News, which is a journalism program produced by the students at the Queensland University of Technology. My name is Ella Holding-McGrath. When the COVID-19 pandemic started, there were many theories about how it originated. Because it first appeared in China, a conspiracy theory emerged that the Chinese had engineered it as a bioweapon. And with the help of social media, theories like that one spread globally, almost as fast as the virus itself. Today I'm joined by QUT Digital Media Senior Lecturer Timothy Graham, who has done research on this issue. Good morning, Timothy.
Good morning, Ella.
So let's jump right into it. Did the Chinese manufacture COVID-19 as a bioweapon?
Well, look, the evidence so far, Ella, suggests that no, the coronavirus does not appear to be, a manufactured virus. I'm not an epidemiologist, I'm not someone who works in that field, but all of the scientific research that's been done really quickly over the past year really or more provides very little evidence to support the premise that this was somehow some kind of engineered strategy or military weapon by any state, whether it's China or the US or anybody else for that matter. So I think in short, there's not very much evidence or very little evidence at all to support this, this theory.
And who exactly spread this rumour, and why do you think it holds such global appeal?
I mean, this is a good question, and I think that, well, the research that I've done into social media and into Twitter suggests that the individuals who were spreading it, this conspiracy theory early on, were pro-Trump supporters, right-wing political commentators in the US, and QAnon conspiracists. So I mean, it kind of makes sense that early on, when there's these conspiracy theories floating around and everybody doesn't know like what's happening, they're trying to find information, there's not much information coming, that they'll turn to to social media and to the internet to try and figure out what's going on. Now, some of them see tweets floating around or things on Facebook that start to come up with these big grand narratives about, okay, we can explain everything. Okay, all this really bad stuff that's happening, all these people that are dying, it's because some state like China invented this virus and is using it as a bioweapon. Mm-hmm. Very attractive premise, very simple and easy to understand. And so I think this is part of the reason why it was picked up so quickly by conspiracy groups like QAnon, who we found in this paper coordinated together to amplify it, like thousands and thousands of accounts working together to try and get the word out there that China did it. And that was a year ago when we did that research, so things have changed since then.
So what role do bots have in the transmission of this rumour?
This is another good question. I mean, a year ago, we thought that bots had a much larger role to play than they do now. So, I mean, this idea that there's somehow these automated accounts and there's millions of them, like an army, who are ready to jump in and completely manipulate public opinion, that is true to some extent. But I think that as the years kind of move on, what we realize is that a lot of these so-called bot accounts actually turn out to be like people who just spend too much time on the internet. Mm. So, it's really unclear exactly how many bots are actually out there pushing conspiracy theories like this. I think the truth is somewhere between a small proportion of bots that are very active, but Twitter's and other platforms are really cracking down on them. But then also this grey area where you've got people who are sitting in their basement, sitting in their rooms or whatever. Maybe they're in lockdown, and they're tweeting like 500 times a day, and it's like, okay, that's not normal behavior by any kind of stretch of the imagination in the normal times, in non-COVID times, but at other times it looks like a bot. So I think bots are a small part of it, but I think people that act like bots, that's kind of like the next level, I think, for why this stuff spreads so quickly.
In your paper, you talk about hybrid accounts. Do they have a major role in the spread of the rumour as well? Yeah,
so I think this hybrid accounts really get to the heart of the matter here, where you know, this distinction between bots and people kind of breaks down when you actually look at how people, like the practices people use when they're actually using social media. So, you know, like there'll be situations where people will use scheduling software, you know, to like automatically retweet stuff that they like, or, you know, you've got brands who are trying to make money like all the time. You've got like scam and spam accounts that are like trying to jump onto like whatever hashtag is big, it doesn't matter what it is, because they're just trying to get attention and build followers and things. So they might have a person behind them, but they'll also be using like automation tools and scheduling assistants and things like that, which kind of throws off all of our bot detection software. So yeah, these hybrid accounts are really tricky. And it comes back to, look, I'm not going to get on my high horse here, but it really comes back to fundamental questions about the relationship between like technology and people, right? Like, you know, we're here in this environment. We've got cameras, we've got lights and things like that. I mean, I'm wearing glasses. That's a technology. I've got a phone in my pocket. We really always have been with technology as people, and so in a sense, we're always hybrid. So this question about bots, you know, versus humans is really like this notion of hybridity really is kind of like delving into that murky area where it's like, okay, some really weird stuff is happening. People are spreading some crazy theories. They're taking off. They're getting into the, you know, into the Washington Post and things like that. But it's just because, you know, that's what people are like. Yeah.
So building on that, you're obviously saying that technology and humans have such a close relationship. What impact do you think the rumour had on the real world response to the pandemic?
Yeah, there's many answers to this question, and I think we're still unsure about what long-term impact this kind of has. I think that one of the key dimensions that comes out of this is just how much this destabilized people's trust in scientific you know, authority. So when people are questioning, well, why do we have this, and you know, should I wear a mask, or you know, should I not, and where did it come from, and why isn't my government doing enough to do something about it? These conspiracy theories, they have this kind of very seismic, slow, long-ranging effect where even if they don't immediately change a person's opinion on something, you know, they might just be kind of interested in it, or they might just see it, or just be exposed to it. Like they're not true believers. What it can contribute to is this destabilizing trust that they have in mainstream media and in health authorities and in government. So I think that, you know, it remains to be seen what kind of effect this has. But in the long term, this kind of, we kind of use this term epistemic change. You know, there's this kind of big shift in the way that people come to construct truth, you know, and when people are turning towards baseless conspiracy theories that are circulating on social media in order to feel safe and to somehow feel like they can explain what's going on, and when they're ignoring, you know, scientists and epidemiologists and you know, experts in the area, I think this is, you know, long story short, I think that these are the kinds of second order and third order effects that we're seeing across the globe, and that has really profound consequences, I think. Not direct, but certainly large scale over time.
Absolutely. So moving to a solution side of it, what can we and everyone do to identify these kind of false rumours?
Well, I think one of the biggest ones is to check sources. You know, when you're surfing on the internet or when you're on social media and you see something that gives you like a really strong emotional reaction, that's the time when you should be like stepping back and rather than clicking the repost button or clicking like, or you know, picking up on that idea and then going off with it yourself, going to the source and asking, okay, where did this come from? Is that a reputable source? Where did they get those sources? Why would that person or that individual be pushing this? So, you know, if you log on to like Twitter, for example, and you kind of see something, you know, in the news, and you're like, yeah, you know, I bet China did this. You know, it's a simple idea. It's easy to understand, and it plays into some really problematic narratives around race and around, you know, and around culture and foreign relations between countries. So, you know, if you see material like that, I think that one of the biggest antidotes is to kind of have this slow approach to your consumption and to amplification of it. More broadly, I think education is a big thing as well. So, you know, kind of pre-inoculating populations against, to give them frameworks and skills to be able to critically assess information that they see. I think that these are probably some of the key things, and to have that backed by government, to have that backed at a policy level, so that, you know, it's not just, okay, disinformation and misinformation really bad, but actually funding this and looking for ways to, you know, to get into schools and to talk to kids about it, and you know, in a sense to get, you know, to immunise us against the threat of false and misleading information.
My guest today has been QUT Senior Lecturer Timothy Graham. Thanks for joining us today here at Real World News. My name is Ella Holding-McGrath. See you next time.